want to use it to segue a little bit, Stephen. You started to touch on it already. That idea of the locus of control for you, it sounds like you realize that relationships, as you said, are a key piece of that. As you thought about what are my emotional needs that need to be met, it was relationships that were missing. I'm super interested in that and almost fascinated because I think I agree. And just from the little bit I know about you in this conversation, frankly, there's a sense, there's almost like an aura of you figured something out in terms of that. The relationship you have, I've seen you talk about it and write about it a little bit with your partner. There's something that I think people could look at in that and say, it seems like they've got something, they figured something out. I'd just be curious to hear you talk a little bit more about your relationships, maybe that one with your partner and maybe others. I think it's your wife at this point. But what is it that you found in relationships? What is the magic that, maybe magic isn't the right word, that you found that works? What does a great relationship look like for you? I know you touched on the values in the beginning, but maybe if you can just explain a little bit more of, so people can feel it a little bit of what that great relationship is.
Sure. I'll just repeat that when I was in my 20s, I married and divorced twice.
Sure.
So, and again, without trying to find meaning in suffering, which I think is a dangerous thing. I mean, it does help you to find meaning in suffering, but you also don't need it. So your Viktor Frankl comment, for example, he found meaning in suffering and that helped him get through it. But sometimes we don't have to find meaning in suffering. Sometimes suffering is suffering and then we make a change. So when I was 21, I got married. I was young and naive, a lot of emotional issues still. After 1 year of being married, I came home and found her in bed with my best friend. So that obviously set up a whole lot of trust issues with women and friends and so forth. A classic scenario. So forget about the learning. All I know is I came out of that thought, wow, okay, I need to start thinking about relationships right then. But still, I still made mistakes. And then I got PTSD and, you know, there's a whole lot of issues coming out of this. And eventually I started pursuing deeper and deeper what relationships are about and the understanding that they are key to fulfillment in life, key to joy. And the intimacy, without intimacy, your life is very off kilter and you never fulfill all your emotional needs. And that links back to the feeling of meaning and fulfillment in life. So I am now married to, I mean, first of all, I'm in the best relationship of my life. I mean, I'm in an incredible relationship with a woman who's, we're basically the same age in our 50s. Amazing to meet someone in your 50s and have this relationship. And the key for me is this. As you're going along in life, you are carrying, as I spoke earlier, these kind of beliefs, ideologies in your head. These ideologies are saying, this is who I am, this is how I must act, this is what life is about. And all these thoughts are creating this false level of life, this false belief of who you are and what life's about. So every relationship you go into, you're bringing all this crap in basically. You don't realize it. You might even be quite a cool person and pretty sorted in life and you know a lot of good things, but you bring in your stuff. It's incredible. From your childhood, from your parents, from all your things. You bring in the stuff. And I want to say it's ego, and it's kind of ego, but it's more identity and belief that you bring into a relationship. It's like, I call it a blueprint in a way. The difference between your blueprint and reality dictates exactly how happy you are and how fulfilled you are. And that is a profound thing that someone taught me once. It was actually a Tibetan Lama of all people. And how amazing, some of these people are incredible. He said, you carry around a blueprint of what life should be or what a relationship should be. And the difference between your blueprint and the actual reality is going to create all your feelings of unhappiness or joy. So if you go in life, and I've never done this, but if you go into life or a relationship with really low expectations, you're probably going to be really happy, right? And you know people like that in life. Some people out there, they're just like, I don't expect much out of life, and they're super happy. Then you get the people like I'm thinking you and I are. We think deeply about things and we want the answers and our blueprints like way up there. And that leads us in a situation we're always anxious and annoyed and frustrated and like wrestling with things. But I mean, I said this to a few clients recently. Don't change your blueprints. You know, for me, don't compromise because your blueprint may be way up there. But if you can get the right tools and strategies and coaches and books, you can get the marriage between your blueprint and your reality and you'll feel ecstatic. And we need people with radical blueprints to change the world, right? Because if I didn't have a blueprint that's saying, I want to know the best of life, I want to know everything. I want to know the best nutrition, the best exercise, how to manage this body. I want to know how to manage this mind. I want to understand spirituality. I want to understand God and the universe. I want to know everything. I want to wrestle this life to the ground like a steer, wrap it up in a rope. And that took me probably 30, 35 years to do, but it was worth it. So I never compromised my blueprints. And I had some help along the way, obviously, as I've mentioned in my books and so forth. So let's go back to relationships now. The fundamental issue in a relationship is you come in there with your blueprints. And it may be that, oh, I expect a woman to act this way, or a man to act this way, or whatever it may be. And you bring in your stuff and you go into a relationship saying, listen, I see that you are this way, which is the reality, but I want you to change to become my blueprint. And that causes all the problems, because the other person in the relationship has their own blueprints about who they should be and who you should be. So what we're having is conflict of different blueprints happening. I'm projecting on you, you must change to be the blueprint I want. You're doing the same thing to me. And at the same time, I'm refusing to change because I have a blueprint of who I am or what I want to be. It's an absolute nightmare. So there's two things. Hopefully, life shakes you up enough. Now, not through the meaning thing, but life shakes you enough through suffering, through difficulties, to stop your stuff and get your blueprints into a healthy place. So a very simple example is this, right? My blueprint, because of my dad, is men don't cry, they don't show their emotions, they don't show vulnerability. Right? So many of my relationships, like the woman is saying, hey, what are you feeling? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, don't worry, I'm busy chasing something, achieving something right now. And later on in life, as much as a few years ago, when I was starting to understand I need to be more authentic and vulnerable and open, not because I'm a man or a woman or non-binary or whatever, just because I'm a human being and I need connections, I was with a woman whose blueprint was, men must not be vulnerable. They mustn't show their feelings. It's like, now I'm in a situation where I've changed my blueprints to be healthier, right? And I'm busy trying to, and she's like, no, don't do it. In fact, I mean, it's hard to say it from there, but one day when I started to cry, the partner was going to slap me and said, don't. I was like, wow,